Welcome everybody, I Came by Ruby. Thank you for all the returning subscribers. Anyone new stopping by for the first time, thank you. And always remember, mind, body, and soul and spirit, or whatever you want to call it, as one, and whatever faith you believe in, integrate it into your life and live by that good moral code. So we're going to do something a little differently. And what we're going to do differently is I'm going to do a three-part series. And in this three-part series is going to be energy, matter, and sound. The one which we're going to cover in this video and topic today will be energy. And we're also going to talk about three forms or types of energy that I'm going to touch base on. And those would be kinetic, potential, and chemical. So let me give you a quick definition of energy, and we're going to go from there. Energy, the strength and vitality required for sustained physical or mental activity. Woo. So energy to me would be like something that you got to put forth, right? Because if you don't, it's so crazy because when I was researching this, my mind was going in all different directions and I had to focus on what, I wanted to pass on wisdom, knowledge, and what we tried to put forth in this channel because this energy went, oh man, all over. There was so many from physics to regular energy to, it kept going on and on and on. But let's get into some definitions so you can see. Kinetic, a form of energy that an object or a particle has by reason of its motion. Oof. So kinetic energy to me is almost like something that is already, you get into motion. Maybe you're standing or let's say you had like a skateboard and you're on top of a hill and then you let that go. And that kinetic energy just starts going. That skateboard starts flying no matter whether it wants to or not, because when you were holding it in and holding on that skateboard on top of that hill, once you let it go, that kinetic energy started. Now, what about when you were holding that skateboard? What would that be called? Oh, let's get into that. That would be called potential. Stored energy that depends on the relative position of various parts on a system. So the stored energy was me just holding on to that skateboard. I was waiting and decisively deciding what I was going to do. Once I had let go of it, that's when what? The kinetic energy started. Third one now, chemical. Chemical, energy stored in the bonds of atoms and molecules. Oh, I'll give you an example of that. So example of that would be like batteries, biomass, petroleum, natural gas, and coal. Right? Because that chemical, the chemical that's within that, stored in like a battery, for instance, does nothing, right? It does nothing without a separate apparatus, meaning that, okay, I took that battery, I bought it, what can I do with it? Unless I connect two wires to it and maybe have like a little bulb at the end of it, sometimes in like a science project, then it would light up, right? Depending on the voltage and all that. I'm not a specialist, I don't know too much about that, but just as an example, that is like the chemical stored energy. Now, why I wanted to get into this, because I'm going to break it down. We're going to put these notes down a little bit, and I'm going to just look at one more thing. Now I'm going to go from the heart, because that's how I like to do on this channel. So basically, I believe, right, what I wrote here, body, to all aspects of this type of energy. And what I believe, this energy, we deal with all of this on a daily basis. All type of energies, right? And now for me, kinetic energy would be a form, right? That's us in motion. You have to be every day in motion. Whether you're laying in bed, you got to get up, get going, whether it's to go to a job, do whatever. That's your kinetic energy. You're constantly in motion and going, right? Now, let's say you stopped and relaxed and sat down and said, I got to take a seat for a minute. I'm exhausted. You're doing what? You're doing that potential energy. You're storing that energy back up so that you can put it back out forth and it can be transferred or converted into other forms of energy, so that potential energy can be converted into what? Kinetic energy, right? And the last one would be chemical. I like chemical energy because, man, this body is so amazing because within it, our molecular structure within our body is amazing. Everything, how this body works is something else. With all these parts within it, they all work with each other simultaneously. And think about this one, when you're in good health and everything, and your body, mind, spirit in one, and everything's working to its full potential, you really don't have an issue. And then you could have one problem with your health, and that will throw your whole system off. Think about that one, right? it will throw it into a tailspin. And the thing why I wanted to get into this, because I really got into the like meat and potatoes of breaking everything down to you. And maybe you might not get at this moment. Repeat the video. Go back. Think about it. Do research on each one of these topics I said. And see how each one of these forms of energy correspond with just your life in general. It really does when you think about it. And it's crazy because anything you could believe in scientifically, astrology, religion, oh, I could keep going on and on. It's all connected. Mathematics. If you really see, there's always like a fine baseline where it's pretty much all connected. But that's up to you and how it's connected into your life. The way it's connected to me might be different from you, different from them, different from her, different from many people. And this is when you start to really get deep into getting yourself aligned spiritually and with just your regular daily activities and how you live and your moral code. Now, I want you to think about this one. So we're talking about all these forms of energy, right? And think about the yin and yang, right? How they're total opposites. White, black, right? That symbol. Think about this. So kinetic, all these energies basically is something always in motion, right? Now let's go to the spiritual side. Spiritually, you have to slow yourself down to the point where this mind is so clear and free from all your daily, everything that comes in, negativities and all this stuff, because your mind gets cluttered with a lot of things. And in spirituality, you have to slow down to the point where, what? That energy is clean, clear, and free, and you're putting out a good vibe and getting back a good vibe. And that takes just coming down. Think about, I'll give you a perfect example, like when a monk meditates. They almost look like they're not moving. They're just sitting there. They could look like, are they still alive or what? Start poking them, right? I mean, watch out. They might take you out. But all jokes aside, think about that. When the monk sits, or anyone, a yogi or whoever it may be, sits down, they're in a state of stillness. And that stillness goes from the mind, body, and all out. Isn't that something? How you have regular energy that's always perpetually in motion and it's always going, constantly moving. And spirituality is still another strong form of energy, but it's like total opposite. Now, I want to throw in some fun facts before we end this video off. 60% of the body is made of water. Imagine that, right? 71% of the planet's surface is covered in water. Think about how important water is, right? And the water is amazing because it could be hot, it could be cold, right? It could be turbulent. I want you to really think about it. It's a parable that I'm giving you. So that 60% of your body is water, right? So what happens, because in the other videos I'm going to get into frequency and vibration in this 3-part mini-series. We'll get more into that. If you're in a bad frequency of vibe, what is happening within you, that water? Not good things, right? You got to always stay calm, cool, and collective. We're going to get more into that. It's just a touch little base. And the other thing of how important water is, think how much is connected with your life, is that you can survive 3 days without water. Only 1 to 2 months without food. Wow, that's something. The world is contained water, we contain water, everything. So what happens when you're out of frequency, I'm out of frequency, everyone else is out of frequency? What would that happen to the earth and the vibration of frequency that we're putting out and that is putting back to us? Not a good thing. I'm going to leave you with that. Do some research, homework on that. It's amazing of what sound and frequency and vibration and how it can actually affect water. If they have done tons of experiments with it. Look into that. I would definitely check out some videos on YouTube. So back to let's do a recap. We have 3 types of main energy. If you want to look it up, do some more homework. Kinetic, potential, and chemical. Another thing we're going to do, 3-part series. We did energy. We're going to do matter and sound. And then I leave you with this. Out of all energy, no matter what form it is, always make it pure, peaceful. Quiet yourself, be calm, and put out that good energy, good vibe. You don't want to be that one that throws out the negativity. Don't be the one that comes in the room and they go, him, her, whoever it may be. Oh, here we go. You don't want to be that one. Take care. I came by Ruby. Thank you so much. See you soon for part 2.